Welcome to Mullers of Mountains. I'm the Wasatch Woodsman. Today, we're going to be doing a full review of the Taipan SLASH, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm going to be sharing my personal opinion and thoughts on the Taipan SLASH, a list of my pros and cons, and everything that I've experienced with this over the last 3 to 4 months that I've had this air rifle. So go ahead and stay tuned and let me show you around. During this review, please keep in mind that I am not sponsored or paid by Taipan in any way or fashion. This review is based solely on my opinions, thoughts, and feelings regarding my Taipan SLASH and the experience I've had. Before we jump right into the video, if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. It really does help me grow the channel and helps me provide more content like this. I'm able to do more gear reviews, more shooting reviews and accuracy reviews, more hunting videos, and hopefully soon other types of content as well. So hit that like and subscribe, and let's get right into this. As most of you are probably aware, if you're watching this video, you probably already know what the Taipan SLASH is. I'm still going to introduce the gun. So this is my Taipan SLASH. It is a 25 caliber version. It is the 420 millimeter barrel. And this is the one I chose. So there's a couple different versions of the Taipan SLASH. You have 2 different versions with 2 different barrel lengths. This is the standard version, which has this under rail here. They have a tactical version, which has the tactical guard that goes over the barrel itself, very similar to a barrel guard for an AR-15. Both versions come in a 420 millimeter barrel and a 550 millimeter barrel. Both barrels are completely shrouded, and all of them have a moderator built in, which is very nice. They all come with a 300cc bottle that you can fill up to 300 bar, which is very nice because this does like to use air. It comes with 2 12-round magazines. One is a slug magazine, one is a pellet magazine. The pellet magazine is indicated by a little dimple on the back rotary part. So it's very easy to know, oh, is this my slug magazine? Is this my pellet magazine? They did put an indicator on there so you know the difference. It is a semi-automatic option. So it is self-indexing. So there's no hammer spring. It is purely air driven. So as you fire it, it will rotate the magazine on its own, self-index, and then you're able to follow up immediately with a second shot. I can shoot this fairly quickly. I can empty the full 12-round magazine in a matter of seconds. I have tried to shoot it as fast as I can, and I do find that if I'm trying to go just as fast as I can, turn it into an automatic basically, I do run into cycling issues with the magazine. Just the air plenum just isn't able to fill that fast. It still feels extremely fast. I just can't do it in a full auto or simulated full auto manner. So, phenomenal gun. I want to get right into why did I pick the Taipan SLASH over other options like the Cuban K1, the Edgun Leshy 2, the Western Air Guns, both Sidewinder and the Mordax Venom Long Strike. There's a bunch of reasons why I was debating between all of those guns. I was looking for a semi-automatic version, but there's a few main reasons why I ended up going with the Taipan SLASH. First and foremost, I just really like the look of this one. It appeased the aesthetic appeal that I was looking for in a gun. As I held this particular gun compared to the Western Mordax Venom, this was much more balanced and comfortable for me. And when I was shouldering it, it just felt more natural, which means I'm gonna shoot it better. So it was just more comfortable. The Edgun Leshy was very comfortable too. I just really, aesthetically and comfort-wise, this won for me. The main reason, the number one reason I picked the Taipan SLASH over these other options is because as I was researching and trying to gain more information on these air rifles, I reached out to all of the companies. Taipan is the only one that responded to me. And they didn't just respond, he responded within 48 hours. So 1 to 2 days, I had a response. And then every time I had a follow-up question, 1 to 2 days later, I had a response. I hadn't even purchased anything from them yet, and they were already treating me like I was one of their valued customers, like I was a VIP. They were hands down amazing. Best company I've ever worked with, specifically when it comes to air guns, or honestly, pretty much anything, any product I've ever had. Taipan's been absolutely phenomenal. They stand behind their product 100% and will go out of their way to make this the best experience you've ever had shooting an air gun, and to make sure that their air gun stands up to their highest level of quality that they go out of their way to make sure you receive. So, number one reason, Taipan. Phenomenal customer service, an amazing company to communicate with and to work with. I'm gonna be looking down at my tablet because I've got some notes here. There's a lot of information here, so I do not want to take too long. I'm gonna move through this. This is gonna keep me on track and keep me from rambling. What do I use it for? What was the purpose of this particular air rifle? Hunting, specifically predator hunting. I am getting a setup. This setup, I am going to be transitioning the day-night digital scope that you've seen me hunt with and taking quite a few jackrabbits, a raccoon, and some other things with this digital day-night scope. But I am transitioning to a thermal. It's going to be a little bit down the road. They're pretty expensive, and I do not want to buy a cheap one and then regret it. Wished I would have bought a nicer one. So I'm just going to save up and buy a nicer one, which is going to be a few months before I can do that. So I'm going to transition to a thermal, and I am going to start coyote hunting specifically, and then obviously foxes, raccoons, or other predators. I will be doing specifically hunting with the air rifle for those, and I'm going to be doing a whole series on coyote hunting with an air rifle. So look forward to that, but it is a little bit away because I just can't get the thermal right now. Why did I go with the Taipan SLASH? I already did. What do I use it for? Another item I wanted to talk about is the viable distance that this particular gun is capable of. For me and for my uses, for the ammo I'm shooting out of this, for the power levels I have this tuned for, my viable functional range on this air rifle is 200 yards. I start reaching out past 200 yards, and yes, I've gotten rabbits at plus 200 yards with this Taipan SLASH in this configuration. It's just not as reliable past 200 yards for my personal use. Anything 200 yards and in, it actually does really well. I have multiple videos. You can go check those out on my channel, Hunting with the Taipan SLASH or After Dark series, where I use the Taipan SLASH and I'm taking rabbits at 180 yards, 150 yards, 190 yards, 120 yards, quite a few different clips of that, where this is phenomenal at those distances. And man, it delivers a ton of power at 180 yards. Enough that I could take down a coyote ethically without wounding it, and then having to try and track it down as it runs a quarter mile away or a half a mile or a mile away, and trying to track down an animal in the dark. I want to be able to take it down ethically with enough power. For me, that's sub 200 yards. Speaking of power, this has a ton of power. The Taipan SLASH comes in 4 different calibers: 177, 22, 25, and 30. This is the 25 version. Let me look at this real quick. Let me pull this up so we're not getting some weird numbers here. The maximum, it says the maximum muzzle energy in joules is, in the 177 is 80, in the 22 is 140, in the 25 is 180, and in the 30 caliber is 220. Essentially, that comes out to, we've got 220 joules. So at the 30 caliber, the max energy is 162 foot-pounds. At the 25 caliber, at 180 joules, this can go up to 132 foot-pounds. That's a crap ton of power. In the 22 caliber, it can do just over 100 foot-pounds of energy. It's got power for days. And you can adjust it accordingly for whatever ammo you're shooting. So it is capable up to that amount, but it really is ammo specific and tune specific. Currently, my 25 caliber is shooting the 38 grain H&Ns at about 920 to 25 feet per second. And based off of my chronograph, that puts me between 70 to 75 foot-pounds. And it'll vary slightly as things change a little bit, but it's right around 72, 73 foot-pounds. So in that 70 to 75 foot-pound range, which honestly for anything I'm hunting is plenty of energy to take it ethically. I'm trying to stay on track. I don't want to make this video super long, so I'm going to kind of be moving through stuff. I would like to move on to my pros and cons. Pros. We're going to start with pros because there's more pros than there are cons. The semi-auto. I can't tell you how great it is to be able to take a shot and see where that is if you miss or you get pushed off by wind, and to immediately take a follow-up shot or even a third follow-up shot. And if you need, dump the whole magazine. I've been able to take down many more rabbits because of the semi-automatic option. So it is very good, specifically if you're going to be predator hunting, and sometimes you have multiple targets coming in, or sometimes you hit one not optimally and you need to follow up with a second shot pretty rapidly before they get away from you. Having the semi-automatic option is a game changer. The power, as I just mentioned, just crazy powerful. I can really tune this sucker up and just get it hot rodded, dropping big slugs with a ton of energy. So super powerful. The next is it's compact. I went with the 420 millimeter option because of its compactness. They do make the 550 millimeter barrel version. If I were to go back, I would probably go with the 550 millimeter barrel version, which I will talk about in a minute. But the compactness is a big seller for me. I like the more compact. I like the bullpup style air rifles. And so to have this in a compact version is just, for me, the most useful option out there. The 550 millimeter version of this is just great no matter what ammo you put into it. It is very universal for the ammo that you use. It is not picky. You can pretty much choose whatever grain, weight, slug, pellet you're wanting to do. Put it in there, and man, it's just going to be deadly accurate downrange. You may have to tune it just a little bit, but it's not going to be picky at all. It comes in a tactical version for those of you that really like that tactical look. Man, they have a tactical option. Tons of M-lock slots. This bottom rail right here in the standard version already has a ton of M-lock slots. I have a Arca Swiss plate already on here, but you can put whatever you want on there. Lights, Picatinny, lasers, whatever accessories you want to accessorize your Taipan SLASH with. Tactical or standard, tons of M-lock slots. So very, very accessorizable. I don't think that's a word, but I just made it up. Multiple calibers. You can choose whatever caliber is going to suit your needs best. The decock option. So as I cock this, I'm going to do that right now. It is now fully cocked. As I kind of get this ready to fire, if I pull this trigger, it is going to shoot air out of here. If I'm driving around in my truck and I'm getting in and out of my truck, because I'm going from one stand to another stand, I'm rabbit hunting and I've got to get out of my truck and set up so I can get on the rabbits, and I'm getting back into my truck, I want to be able to pull this cocking lever back, pull the trigger, release that, and now it's decocked. I do not have to worry about, I don't have to take the magazine out and do all of that other stuff. It is decocked, it is safe. I do not have to worry about it going off in my truck or accidentally. So, huge option for me, the decocking. The other thing is, it is so easy to adjust. It is easy to adjust that regulator to get the power options that you want. On the back here, there's a butt plate. It's got 2 screws. You remove those 2 screws and you have direct access to the adjustable regulator. They give you a little tool that it comes with that you just put in there and you turn clockwise for more power or counterclockwise for less power. You do not have to degas this. Now, don't turn it all the way down because you could potentially damage the regulator. But if you step it down just a little bit by little bit and then do a couple dry shots, leave the magazine in when you do it. If not, it's super loud. So put the empty magazine in, do 2 or 3 shots. That'll bring that regulator down. Turn it down again, 2, 3 dry shots. Turn it down to wherever you want it. But after you turn it a little bit, dry fire it a couple times, settle out that regulator, and then tune it again. As you turn it up in power, you do not have to do that. It will just fill that regulator and adjust automatically. So the fact you don't have to degas and re-air up the gun, so awesome. Super easy to tune. Pick a slug you like. You want to go to another one and turn up the tune on it? Super easy. Takes you a few minutes and you're good to go. There's no crazy tools, no crazy procedure you have to go through. You got to do this, then on the hammer spring, and then adjust the hammer spring and adjust this. You just tweak the regulator and you're good to go. And then the best pro, the number one that tops it all, is Taipan. I already mentioned they are amazing. I'm going to mention it again. They're amazing. They are phenomenal to work with. Such a good company. Their customer support is on point and hands down, by far, the best company you'll work with, or that I have worked with for any air rifle, or honestly, pretty much anything I've ever got. They are phenomenal and they back their product. They stand behind it 100%. If you've got a defective barrel or a defective magazine or it won't cycle properly, they will take care of you. So, phenomenal company to work with. Pick yourself up a Taipan. Whether that be the Veteran, Veteran 2, or the Slash, the company itself is phenomenal. Moving on to the cons. There are some cons. The first one is, I'm going to mention, is the 300cc bottle. It does fill up to 300 bar, which is phenomenal, but this is a air hog. It uses a ton of air. There's no hammer spring. It is all air regulated, and which allows them to get that self-indexing magazine. But at my current tune, I'm getting about a magazine to a magazine and a half. That's between 18 to 20 shots before I have to refill this bottle. And that is with a full fill. If I'm completely maxed out at 300 bar, I can get 2 magazines out of it, but I'm pushing it at that point. Usually that last shot or the 2 last shots of that second magazine are just bumping off the regulator or hitting that regulator. So as I've tuned this up and created more power for the heavier slug that I'm shooting, I'm not getting a huge shot count on there. I have asked them about that, and it does sound like they're in the process of coming up with an option to remedy that or make that less of an issue. So I don't know what that is, but stay tuned, and as I find out and when they come out with it, I will update you and let you know. The second one is the fill probes. This does come standard with a fill probe. As most of you know that shoot air guns, fill probes suck. You lose them. You go on a trip and you left it at your house, which I've done, and that's terrible because you basically, when you run out of air, there's no way to fill the gun back up, and so you're SOL. So The fill probe, I'm just not a fan of them. They're functional, but I hate the fact that I have to try and remember it every time. This they have remedied. So they have come out with a little adapter that has a mounted fill port with an angled regulator adapter as part of it. So you can actually take this adapter part off, and they have a new adapter that you can put in that has a mounted fill probe. So thank you, Taipan, for fixing that. That was a major complaint for a lot of people, and they listened and fixed it, which is awesome. They're also addressing the air consumption issue. It's still going to take a lot of air, but they're trying to come up or creating something that's going to allow it for you to get more shots out of a single fill. I'm assuming they're trying to figure out a way to get a bigger bottle on there. That's just my guess, but I'm looking forward to it. Lastly, so I've only got 3 cons, one of which has already been fixed. They've already got a solution for it. The second one sounds like it's in progress. The third one is the 420 millimeter barrel. Now, don't take this the wrong way. It isn't a con as a man, it's a terrible barrel. Don't buy the 420 millimeter version. The con of the 420 millimeter barrel version is it is just as accurate as the 550 millimeter barrel. However, it is much more demanding and picky with the ammo and tune you use to achieve that same accuracy. So the 550 millimeter barrel version is just great in every way. You put whatever you want, do a little tweaking, man, you're shooting dime-sized groups at 50 yards. The 420 millimeter barrel, you have to be very ammo specific. It does not like certain types of ammo, specifically slugs. And so you have to really find that one that's going to work and really dial it in and, you know, up and down, and kind of find that where you can really tighten up those groups and find the tune that it likes for a particular ammo. It is very capable of shooting dime-sized groups that I'll show you right now. So I was just out earlier today, actually, getting this tuned in, and this is a 5-shot group at 50 yards, and I can cover that with my finger. That is less than a half an inch, just under a half an inch. This is a 6-shot group right here. This flyer was me. As I pulled the trigger, I actually jerked the gun and I pulled it high. And so this 5-shot group that is more accurate representation of the gun itself is right at a half an inch from top to bottom. This is a 6-shot group over here. And again, a half inch in any direction at 50 yards. This down here is a 12-shot group. This left or right, I don't really take into account because it was gusting wind when I was shooting this group, and it's a full 12-shot group. And so that's about 3/4 of an inch, but top to bottom, it's only half an inch, which is what I was going for in this because of the wind. I was gonna get some wind drift on these slugs. And so the fact that it's shooting this as compared to 1.5-inch groups that I was shooting previously before I started tuning it and really honing in on which ammo and tune it liked, I'm much more satisfied with the grouping now. But I've gone through 3 tins of this ammo, so about 600 rounds to really fine tune this. So it does take more to tweak the 420 millimeter barrel as opposed to the 550 millimeter barrel. So if I were to go back, I would probably personally pick the 550 millimeter barrel version of this, just mostly because it's not ammo specific. You can pick something you like and shoot it. So those are the cons, and that's it. So most of this is pros. I absolutely love my Taipan. I can't speak highly enough about it. Quality product, quality company. It's just the 420 mil version's a bit picky, and so you have to really fine tune it and find what it likes. Speaking of the barrels, I have been in contact with Taipan and asked them if I could share this information, which I do want to read specifically. So they told me I could share this with you. So the 550 millimeter barrels are far more universal and much easier when it comes to ammo selection or selecting suitable ammunition. The final accuracy of both the 420 millimeter barrel and the 550 millimeter barrel can be the same, but the 420 millimeter barrel is much more demanding in its ammo selection and tune. So you can achieve the same accuracy. The 420 is just a little bit more demanding. And so take that into account when you're purchasing your Taipan SLASH, which you should go out and do because they are so fun to shoot and have a ton of power. Let's move right on. Okay. Would I recommend the Taipan SLASH? You know the answer. Absolutely. Go buy one. They're awesome. They're fun to shoot, and they have all the power that you're ever going to want in a Taipan SLASH. And you can tune them up or you can tune them down. So if you're doing pesting and you're shooting rats out in a barn or something like that, the 177 version of this, or even the 22 tuned down to a 15 grain JSB Hades, and you're going to be shooting rats all night long. Tune it up for coyote hunting, or get a 30 caliber and go out hog hunting in Texas. Absolutely going to be an awesome gun. If you're an iguana hunter and you're out somewhere in Florida or out there that they have iguana problems, what a great option to go out and hunt iguanas with. Get the 22 cal version of this, shooting pellets. Tune that to about an 18 grain JSB pellet or a 15 grain JSB pellet. Man, you're gonna get three and a half magazines out of that. With a full 300 bar fill, and it's going to drop iguanas all day long. So with all the power you need. So what an awesome air rifle. What a great gun. I highly recommend it. Absolutely go pick yourself up one. And if you're really interested, take into consideration the 550 millimeter barrel option. If you're shooting pellets, I think the 420 millimeter barrel is going to be more than sufficient. I personally need this to shoot slugs. So I may end up purchasing a 550 millimeter barrel and swapping it. But that is to be continued, and we'll have to figure that one out a little bit later. That is my thoughts, opinions, the good, the bad, and the ugly about the Taipan SLASH. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments below. I do my best to answer them. As more people comment, as more people subscribe and follow, I may not be able to answer every single one because that would be a ton, and that would basically be all I was doing. But I do my best to answer them and to respond. So leave a comment below, hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next video.